Welcome to the #1 show called The Weekend Recap that is hosted by me, Adrian, from Rabona TV. The only one eligible for this distinction, so we win it every time with ease. It's great to have you back, and let's get to it. Gotcha. Never. Manchester United versus Southampton. Fall into the seat here. Another great result for Ralph Hasenhüttl and Saints, so shout out to them for another great performance this week. How dangerous does Armando Broja look, by the way? The same can't be said of Manchester United, who look more lost as every week goes on, as generating opportunities is a big issue for them. Good opportunities, that is. I mean, Ronaldo with just 2 attempts, one of which he should have scored, but he's on his worst run of form since 2009, having not scored a goal in 6 appearances for United. You have to go back to December of 2021 for his last goal, which came against Burnley. After the match, David De Gea said, quote, "I think someone has put a curse on us. Truth is, I don't know what's going on. We talk about it as teammates and we just say, we don't know what's happening. We should have competed for more trophies, bigger titles, but I just don't know why this team doesn't function." That's not very encouraging, is it? Everton got their second win under Frank Lampard. When you need a big victory, playing Leeds is a decent shout, as they are so hot and cold. Lampard's boys made up for their last match, a loss against Newcastle, with a 3-0 victory against Bielsa's side. Huge performance out of the young Anthony Gordon, a goal and an assist. Happy day at Goodison. Speaking of, Newcastle United are really starting to take shape under Eddie Howe. They have had 3 impressive results on the trot, beating Leeds 1-0, Everton 3-1, and this weekend they beat Aston Villa 1-0 to put them 4 points above the drop zone. Hey man, if they avoid the drop and they continue with this kind of form, then perhaps those big signings they've been dreaming of will indeed arrive this summer. Speaking of, Kieran Trippier and his free kick, sensational stuff once again. Definite questions to be asked of the wall, I will say, as it was helped on by Buendia's knee, that's for sure, but Trippier did his part, right? Brighton finally snapped their 3-draw run with a win away to Watford this weekend. Neil Maupay and Adam Webster with the goals for Potter's side as they continue to stay within touching distance of some sort of European place, whether we're talking Conference or Europa League, we don't know yet. Manchester City handed a beatdown to Dino and Norwich, slapping 4 past Angus Gunn in goal. Raheem Sterling got a hat-trick, man. It was in doubt when he had his penalty saved, but I mean, he scored on the follow-up right away. So the man was just playing a wall pass to himself, right? But hey, massive respect to Sterling, who has quietly climbed up to 3rd in the Premier League top scorer standings now. The 2 players ahead of him, Jota and Salah, had a rough match against Burnley. A fairly open match, which was fun, as Wout Weghorst is looking like a great fit in this Burnley side. Enough technical ability, while still providing a big physical presence, but he did unfortunately go off injured in the 75th minute for Burnley. Liverpool did get the win, as a flicked header from a corner kick was turned in eventually by Fabinho. He's been scoring at a pretty frequent tick lately, hasn't he? A brace against Shrewsbury Town, a goal versus Brentford, a penalty against Palace, and now the goal against Burnley. It's been a great run of form for Fabinho. Tottenham's very bad week continued after they lost 3-2 to Saints, and then they lost against Wolves at home this weekend. But hey, losing to the Premier League Manager of the Month is no shame, right? Bruno Lage has done some fantastic things with this Wolves side, and with goals from Jimenez and a Puskas Award nominee from Dendoncker. My goodness, what a calamity, a comedy of errors, starting with that pass from Lloris and attempting to play it out the back, creating their own problems, really, Spurs. And this image of Conte says it all. If an image could speak, this one would be saying, "Really, bro?" or whatever that is in Italian. It's a really bro image for sure. There's no doubt about that. And with West Ham getting a late equalizer against Leicester, here are your scores and standings. City maintained their 9-point lead over Liverpool, having played an additional match. West Ham remain top 4, and Wolves, who have 2 matches in hand, kind of, at least over some. What a mess this table is. They're absolutely in touching distance of the top 4. Another very difficult match for Chelsea after they were made to work against Al Hilal in the semi-finals of the Club World Cup, but another match that they ground out a win, one way or another. The same issues remain, chance creation and finishing, as they were held by the very well-drilled Palmeiras until the second half. In fact, they didn't have a single attempt on target in the first half, right until the death of that first half. They had 1 on target in the second, and none in the first half of stoppage time, and 1, the winner, in the second half of stoppage time. So not very industrious in front of goal. And I mean, I saw this coming a mile away. Chelsea struggle in the attack. Yes, Abel Ferreira, as I highlighted on Twitter, is a Portuguese manager who does Portuguese manager things in tournaments, play uber defensively, try to hurt Chelsea on the counter, and for the most part, it worked. If they had a little more quality in the attack, I mean, there was too many times that their players would show too much of the ball while they were trying to dribbling, or just completely miscontrol it, whatever it may be. And if it wasn't for a Luan handball late, then they perhaps could have nicked it. They played to their strengths, and it nearly got them a chance in the shootout because aside from that, they neutralized Chelsea pretty damn well. But as for Chelsea, Havertz's penalty delivered the one trophy they hadn't won yet in their club history, the Club World Cup. So congratulations to them. What a year under Thomas Tuchel, eh? Borussia Dortmund bounced back from getting their booties blasted by Bayer Leverkusen last weekend with a comfortable win this weekend against Union Berlin. 3-0 away for Dortmund, a brace from Royce, and a third added by Guerrero. Funny little poke from the rebound for that third one. Royce, he scored 3 in 3 now. This match also provided the meme of the weekend for the Bundesliga. Union had a goal called back for a technicality, basically. Unfortunate for them, and given they have an analog scoreboard as opposed to a digital one, the man in charge of changing the numbers was plastered all over Bundesliga Twitter, begrudgingly putting the 0 back in there instead of the 1 for Union. But anyway, great response from Dortmund. Tedesco's RB Leipzig continued to pick up great results and continue to climb up the table. This weekend, they got a 3-1 victory over Köln, which was their 4th win in their last 5 matches. One of my favorite players to watch this season, especially in the Bundesliga, Christopher Nkunku, got his 11th goal from 22 Bundesliga appearances. He also has 7 assists. Incredible so far for him. Interesting to see if he ends up at City, as has been the rumor. Borussia Mönchengladbach got their first win since they shocked Bayern 4 matches ago at the beginning of January. This week they beat Augsburg 3-2, a side they should be beating every time really, but not so much this season, I guess. It's been a rough one. Still no goal for Ricardo Pepi in 4 appearances for Augsburg, by the way, but it was always going to be tough when you transfer to a team that is potentially getting relegated this season. So, you know, the guy's still 18. Give him time. By the way, they did it! Wolfsburg have won 2 Bundesliga matches in a row for the first time since the end of October. This weekend, they beat Eintracht Frankfurt as Wolfsburg defeated their former manager Oliver Glasner's new side. Well, we're in mid-February. Is it still his new side? Anyway, Max Kruse did a Max Kruse thing and converted a penalty, and a late strike from Luka Bacchi put Frankfurt to bed. The Basement Boys, Greuther Fürth, got their 3rd win of the season this weekend. A 71st minute penalty from Hergota, his 2nd goal of the match actually, gave them the 2-1 win in a match where they scored their fastest goal in Bundesliga history, taking just 27 seconds for Hergota to get the opener. Great day for Greuther. And by the way, what I said there was their fastest goal in Bundesliga history. Their fastest goal in their whatever. You get it. Bayer Leverkusen are a mean bunch of guys, aren't they? After slapping Dortmund 5-2, blasting their ass, they beat down on Stuttgart this weekend 4-2. While he didn't score against Dortmund, Patrick Schick got in on the goals, as did Moussa Diaby and Florian Wirtz. Of course, Moussa Diaby has gotta be one of the most sought after wingers this summer, no? What a season he's having. Again, 10 goals and 6 assists in just 20 appearances for the Frenchman. And of course, the shock of the weekend. Bochum promoted back into the Bundesliga this season, hosted Bayern Munich, and gave their supporters the kind of match they will never forget. Ever. It started poorly for them, as Lewandowski scored in just the 9th minute. But from there, dreamland. Bochum scored 4 goals unanswered against Bayern. 14th minute, 38th, 40th, and 44th. The mental lapse of all mental lapses, which is rare coming from Bayern Munich, conceding 4 goals in a 30-minute stretch of the first half. Lewandowski did pull one back in the second, but my goodness, what an achievement for VfL Bochum, the heroes of the weekend. I don't have anything against Bayern, of course. Bochum are just worthy and deserving of being celebrated this weekend. What an achievement. And with Hoffenheim winning, here are your scores and stats. Well, standings, I should say. I guess stats isn't technically wrong. Whatever. Stop tripping yourself up, Adrian. Bayern's lead cut back down to 6. We'll see how long that lasts this time, as Dortmund seem to stumble far too often. But actually, when you look at it, Dortmund just have 2 losses fewer than Bayern. Bayern isn't necessarily running away with this at all. They've dropped points 5 times, but it's just a matter of people actually capitalizing on those drop points, which never really seems to happen. Some great last-minute equalizers this weekend in Italy, especially on Sunday. To start, the very very tricky side that is Sassuolo under Alessio Dionisi was just moments away from getting a big 2-1 victory at home against AS Roma. But the final quarter of the match was spent a man down after Ferrari got a second caution in the 78th minute. It felt like they would throw it away. And they did, in a sense, with a last-minute glancing header from Cristante just making it over the line to level for Mourinho's men. Otherwise, there would have been another rollicking in the dressing room from Mourinho. Napoli and Inter was a very fun match to watch, a game of two halves for Inter as they were terrible in the first half, thus losing 1-0 at halftime from an Insigne penalty, but they stormed to a 1-1 draw right out of the gates of the second half as Dzeko fluffed a header. Koulibaly was completely disoriented by the fluffed header, and then Dzeko slammed it in from a tight angle off the bar and in, so kudos to him for that. Calamitous defending from Napoli, a quick lapse, and Inter were back in the game, and they managed to hang on. Not that Napoli didn't have an opportunity to win it in the second half, because they certainly had opportunities in the second half, but 1-1 the final. By the way, congrats to Insigne for surpassing Maradona in the all-time top scorers list at Napoli. He's now in third behind Hamšík and Mertens. All-time top scorer for Napoli, and by a long shot. Operation Save the Sexy Kits is still underway for Venezia as they got a very important 2-1 win away to Torino, but it was touch and go, wasn't it? Belotti had a goal called back very late on in the 93rd minute, and it all got very heated. Okereke with a red for landing with his studs on the thigh of his opponent. He was on the ground, by the way, so it wasn't that violent. He wasn't flying through the air, but it was still a little bit naughty, wasn't it? Now, of course, with Napoli and Inter drawing, AC Milan had a massive opportunity to go top of the table with a win over Sampdoria. And win over Sampdoria they did, as who else but Rafael Leão, the man in form for Milan, got the winner for the Rossoneri. What a stunning ball forward from Mike Maignan to pick out Leão on the left wing, and when he cut inside on his man, you could feel the goal coming. An assist for Maignan, whom Tonali said after the game that it would be good to see him in the midfield. And for Leão, he got his 7th this season with 7 goal contributions in his last 8 appearances, so he's really hitting form in the last little while. Hellas Verona bounced back with a big 4-0 win over Udinese, but still no goals for Gio Simeone. It's wild, man. He's still third in Serie A scoring, but he hasn't scored since December 12th. That was 8 matches ago and 2 months ago. Plenty of draws in Serie A this weekend, as you can see here, including Juve's late equalizer that cancelled out a ludicrous Ruslan Malinovsky smash for Atalanta. Absolute banger, which is a word that is thrown around too liberally sometimes. So Milan sit atop the table again, but Inter still have a match in hand, remember. My goodness, what a race we have in Italy. Another poor result for Real Madrid is the Benzema effect, or lack of it due to injury, is really felt in this squad. They went away to Unai's tricky Villarreal, with Real Madrid boasting Gareth Bale in their starting 11, and coming back with a 0-0 draw. One of those matches where Real Madrid could have and should have, absolutely should have scored at least 3 or 4 goals. Bale in particular had a couple, but they lacked the quality of the finish. They couldn't finish their lunch. You know, that paella was going cold on the table. Another rocky roller coaster of a match for Atletico Madrid, in which their defense continues to let them down, but they at least won this time. It felt like it was going to be another nightmare for them, as Suarez had a penalty saved in the 9th minute, but Cunha and Correa put Atletico 2-0 up after 27 minutes. Then the nightmare did indeed come in the form of Getafe going 3-2 up by the time the 42nd minute came around. But that dude Correa was there once again to equalize, so important for Atleti this season. 3-3 at halftime. How could you not be entertained by this one? You want more nightmare fuel for Los Colchoneros? How about Felipe getting himself sent off in the 58th minute, leaving Simeone with the decision of yanking Suarez for Hermoso, but it would turn out to be a good thing, as Hermoso linked with another substitute in João Felix for what was the winner for 10-man Atletico in the 89th minute. João Felix headed a cross goal from a free kick. Hermoso somehow had 2 bites of the apple right on the 6-yard box, with the second he converted with a bicycle kick. Brilliant. Still lots of questions to be asked of Atletico, but a win is a win, especially while being a man down. And yes, I know Getafe is in 15th, but still, Atletico are in poor form, so shout out to Atletico. Real Betis looked convincing once again as they beat Levante 4-2. There was a moment when they looked like they were going to throw the game and allowing Levante to get back to 3-2 from 3-0 down, but they overcame it in the end. Nabil Fekir with a couple of goals. Fantastic from him. Real Sociedad have been unbeaten in 5 matches now, as they continued that unbeaten run with a 2-0 victory over Granada, while Valencia are winless in 6 matches now as they lost 2-1 away to 18th place Deportivo Alaves. Surprising from Bordalas, no? And finally, the Barcelona derby was an incredible spectacle. First off, we had Pedri putting the visitors ahead after just 2 minutes. Ridiculous. But before the half was up, the dynamic duo of Raúl de Tomàs and Sergi Darder linked to level things. In the second half, another blunder from Eric Garcia. Man was sleeping back there, playing Raúl de Tomàs on side. I mean, this is damning. Just take a look for yourself. And de Tomàs made no mistake. He's been incredible for Espanyol this season. 13 goals and 3 assists in 22 appearances. So Espanyol were leading, and they were getting under Barcelona's skin as Piqué fell for the bait and got himself sent off. Big man and little man square off. Big man and little man both get sent off. So that was a great trap from Espanyol. But I think the thing that stands out the most is how as soon as Traoré shows up in Spain, he suddenly can cross. His whipped cross at the very end of the match that Luc de Jong headed in was inch perfect. Inch perfect. And the bend on it was sexy as well. It's wild. Now in Xavi's system, I don't know if it's that defenders stand off of you more in Spain or what it is, but his crossing has been excellent. 2-2 the final and the score. And the scores and standings are as follows. You can see that Sevilla won as well, coupled with Real making a habit of dropping points in their last 5 matches. 2 wins, a loss, and a draw. Their lead is now just 4 points at the top. Barca really could have used the full 3 points to put the heat on Betis and potentially surpass them with a match in hand. And Atleti also have a match in hand. Hello to Atleti. Okay, that's it. Get out. I'm joking. Thanks for watching, guys. I always appreciate it, and I love you. Happy Valentine's Day.